So similar to the SD-WAN technology that we have, which is responsible to manage all the WAN edge devices in your enterprise network from a centralized point, of course, with the help of some controllers. We discussed that in the last video. We also have this SD access technology to overcome the challenges that we were facing in the campus local area network. So to manage all the LAN infrastructure of your enterprise network from a centralized point, we have this SD access technology. In the SD access technology, the controller that we are going to use is what we call DNA center. DNA center is a hardware appliance. Basically, it is some appliance that Cisco sells. You can add this appliance into your infrastructure to get a centralized point of control over all the aspects of LAN devices. We'll talk in detail about that hardware later on. So different challenges that we were having, like in the LAN environment, one of the important challenge that we were having of segmentation, or we can say like security challenge, where we could use the VLANs, or we can use these different access control list. We can use the VLANs, or we can use the ACLs to create the segmentation or to control who can talk to who and what services can be accessed by the user. So to like now, as we discussed in the last videos, that using the VLAN to perform the segmentation or using the access control list to control the security in your infrastructure might not scale very well. Fine. SD access, in the SD access, when we talk about the SDA, this thing like this, instead of using the access control list, we use solutions based on TrustSec along with this ICE. Your SD-WAN, like in your SD access DNS center controller, can be integrated with the ICE, or you can say like ICE can be integrated with the DNS center appliance. So ICE is going to act as this, policy plane, and from here, from the centralized point, you can ensure all the policies in your complete local area network. So, for example, what we can do is that, let's say there is a user that belongs to a finance department. There is a user that belongs to an admin department. Okay, what I can do that I can configure my SDA environment in such a way that anytime this user joins the network, the user has to be authenticated first. After the successful authentication, then the user can be assigned a tag value, some sort of tag it can be assigned. We call that as GT tag. We'll talk about that in detail as well later on. So what can be done that after successful authentication, the user can be assigned some sort of tag value. Similar to that, when the admin user joins in, let's say the tag value that is assigned to this finance user is 15, and later on when the other user joins in connected on the same switch, for example switch number 1, this user joins in. Since this user belongs to, once the user provides its username and password, the device is going to identify that, okay, this belongs to the admin group, and the users in the admin group are going to be configured with some different tag. Let's call that tag as 20. So what we can ensure from here is that any user, anytime when it joins the network, it will be assigned with some sort of SGT tag. And later on, from the DNS center appliance, we can create a policy in such a way that we can restrict the communication between the users having the tag value 10 and having the tag value 50. So instead of doing the matching based on the criteria that ACL could match, we can simply do that matching based on the tags, SGT tags. We'll talk about the SGT tags later on. So we will not need to manage complex access control list. We can still apply the ACLs if you want, but we can also enforce the security based on these SGT tags. This can be done with the help of ICE and this TrustSec that we get when we integrate DNS center appliance with these ICE engine. Fine. This is one of the challenges that we were having. This DNS center appliance can deal with that challenge. Now, other challenges that we talked about, like we might have challenges associated with the deployment of new devices. Okay, we might be trying to deploy some new devices, and same set of VLANs and everything we have to configure on all those new devices as well. So what can be done in this case, what can be done is that we can create again from the DNS Inter appliance. We have two things. We'll talk about that as well later on. One thing that we have is a network data platform, and we have something called network control platform. What we can do from the DNS Inter appliance, we can push whatever configurations we want to do on all those devices from a centralized point to all the devices that we have added just now in the fabric. So we do not need to actually go and configure the VLANs, for example, on all the switches by administrative configurations or manual configurations. Even in fact, let's say we can stretch the VLAN 10 here. We can stretch the VLAN 10 from this access layer device to this access layer device. And in between, there could be like a lot of other devices as well. So user in VLAN 10 can communicate with the user in VLAN 10 here as well. This stretching can be done with the help of something called VXLAN. This is one of the technology that this SD Access uses like within its operations. So we can VXLAN provide some sort of encapsulation method to to send the data from one of the switch to the other switch. We can use VXLAN at the data plane, and we can use something called LISP, locator identity separation protocol, at the control plane to make the things easy to make push all the things from a single point. So network data platform and network control platform, these are two things. We'll talk about them later on as well in detail. So using these two things, we can ensure that all the switches that we have in our fabric have the similar set of policies. Fine. So deployment will even, in fact, we can do all the provisioning from the DNS Inter appliance itself. You don't even need to touch the switch that you are going to deploy. You just have to connect it into the fabric, and all the configuration can be provisioned from the DNS Inter appliance itself. The DNS Inter appliance can discover the new devices. It can push the configurations on those new devices as well. Okay. So these type of deployment related issues, can be solved from here as well. Fine. Other challenges that were associated in this case, such as different operational challenges are related to the operations of your existing infrastructure, where we talked about, like, for example, some user is saying that it is unable to get the IP address from the DHCP server. So this network data platform that we just talked about, this network data platform, it can also collect the data from all these endpoints and all those devices, and it can provide you after careful analysis of the data that it has collected. Its AI engine and all those things are going to run in the background, and it can provide you suggestions based on which it can also provide you the suggested configurations based on which you can try to perform troubleshooting from the DNS Inter appliance as well. Even if you want to do the configurations, it can push the necessary configurations to resolve that issue as well. More like it is going to give you some sort of telemetry and insights of your entire network from a centralized point. You can observe different types of issues that you have in your P1 issues or P2 issues. We'll talk about that. So you can check all these different issues that are ongoing in your infrastructure, and this is going to provide you some insights about those issues, like where the users are facing those issues, what actions can be taken to overcome those issues. Okay. This all is going to be provided in some sort of user interactive way, so that the user can interact with the appliance, and the appliance can then further on push the configuration to the devices. So this SD Access solution can also deal with variety of operational challenges that you face in your infrastructure as well. With the help of this DNS Center appliance, with the help of this SDA solution, it is possible to have similar set of like wired and wireless policy. We can manage these wireless access points that are there in my infrastructure from a centralized point as well. We could have like same policy for wired and wireless users. We can have a different policy for wired and wireless users. We can set all those policies from the centralized point itself. So management of these wireless devices in your infrastructure is going to be comparatively very easy itself. Fine. Now, other challenges that we were having, like for example, the vendor lock-in issue. You can use different vendors, and the DNS Inter appliance. Basically, if you are not having a device that is capable of doing the or capable of being managed from the DNS Inter appliance, we can still use these old techniques such as SSH, SNMP, all those things we can use to manage those devices as well. Fine. So all these challenges that you were facing earlier can be resolved using that DNS Center appliance. So let me, again, just like in the SD-WAN section, let me show you how this DNS Center appliance look like, how its GUI is there, and what things you can do from this DNS Center appliance. So again, we had to do the same. We had to go to the D cloud, same. You search here this time, you search the DNA. Again, same thing like instant demo and all those things. You search the DNA. Here you will get the DNA assurance demo. You can get the like automation and assurance instant demo. Let me open this one. It is for version 2.2.8. Fine. So let me just open this one. I will click on view. Again, if I have to see any sort of document related to login and everything, so I will just click on related document and demo guide, and I can take a look at here as well. So this is the GUI of that DNS Center appliance. Again, we will have only view level of access. You can take a look at this diagram and you can take a look at this document, and you can check the getting started guide to get the user ID and passwords. Okay, right here, same password that we had for the SD-WAN. So once you log in there, demo and all that, once you log in there, you will get this type of graphical user interface for the DNS Inter appliance. So recently, what they are trying to do is that they are trying to have the similar type of graphical user interface for all the devices. Earlier, if you covered the SD-WAN section like 2-3 years back, you must see that the graphical user interface was a little bit different. Even if you see this DNS Center appliance, the older DNS Center appliance, the graphical user interface was a little bit different in 1.3, 1.4 versions. Here we have a different graphical user interface for that DNS Center appliance. So this is how the DNS Center appliance is going to look like that. This is the GUI of that DNS Center appliance that we have here. Again, I have logged in with the demo user. So from here again, you can see how many sites are there as per the Feb 10, 2022. It is like 62 sites are there, 2 DNS server, 1 NTP server. Total 113 devices are being managed from this centralized point. One application policy is running. 897 images are uploaded. Oh, I should not have clicked there. So 97 devices are there. Now 97 images are there. 18 different network profiles are there. 1 for routing, 4 for switching, 12 for wireless, and all those things. Authentication and everything. There are 97 devices which are licensed with DNA license. Okay, 45 switches, 14 routers, and 38 wireless devices. So this is just the network snapshot, how many number of devices and all those things are there. And here we have the tools that we can use to discover the network, discover the topology, see commands and all those things. So this is the main page that you get here. Now you click on again here, and you will see that you can do almost everything that you can do using CLI from this GUI as well. So things related to the design, for example, you can check the network hierarchy, you can check the network settings, image repository, network profiles, authentication template, so that when the user joins, what authentication policies have to be applied for that user. All those things you can see from this centralized point. So let's for example go for network hierarchy, and you click here. You can see that what they have done is that they have created these different sites all across the globe. So in African region, Asia, Europe, North America, South America. So they have just created these, They have not created any sites under this one. So under the Africa region, they have Egypt location, they have South Africa location. Under the Asia, they have like China, Japan, Korea. Under the Europe, you will see that they have this England, France, Germany. So they have created all these sites here, but nothing is there under those sites. However, in the North America, if you expand this, they have like Canada location, they have Mexico location, and they have USA, obviously. So USA, you click on USA, and you can see that in USA they have different like California, New York, Texas, Washington. So they have some sort of hierarchy is there. Some sort of hierarchy is there. So under the global, North America, USA, California, or New York, you can check like how many, what is the information about that particular site. So if you click on here, this is the address and everything that you can see. You can click on the edit building. You can click on the edit building. You can change all those parameters from here. Again, you can click on view devices so that all the devices you can see, view settings so that all the settings you can see. So from here, actually you can see all the devices that are attached in the New York location. Fine. So that was just the main page. That was just the main page that they had there. Now, again, just like you know, just like I said, I might not have the entire like full level of access. So I can see all those things from this centralized point as well. Fine. Now let's go on the again. Let's go on the again same tab, and from there I can. You see all these devices are there. Now it has shown me the list. This is all the devices that are there that are attached onto that particular location. Fine. If you want to check the topological view, you can just click on here and it will show you the topology view. It might take some time, but it will show you the topology view. Anyway, let's not wait that much. Anyway, we are going to do that later on, so you can ignore it for the moment. Okay. So anything related to the design, you can do it from here. You can create different network profiles. Here you can define different policies accordingly. Authentication templates you can define on here as well. So everything related to the design, you can do it from here. Now, policies, you might want to apply different policies. For example, the thing that we talked about, group-based access control using SGT tags. Okay, so you can just click on here and you can see ICE is successfully integrated. ICE is successfully integrated with this DNS Center appliance. So all I had to do, if I want to apply some sort of policy, all I had to do, I have already defined that if any user joins in and if the user provides a user ID and password to be like ABC and XYZ, the user is going to be considered part of admin group. Okay, and it will automatically be allocated with a security group tag value of a scalable group tag, security group tag or scalable group tag of 10, for example. And now all I have to do is that if suppose I want to block the communication between two a particular users, for example, I don't want my developers to communicate with let's say contractors, okay, for example. So or I want these developers to communicate with the auditors, or I don't want to communicate with these auditors. So all I have to do is just click on here and I can just enable or disable the communication right from there. I don't have to create a complex access list to manage the traffic or all those things. I'm not saying that I cannot apply that. I can apply the policy based on IP based access control. IP based access control policies, I can apply that as well. But if you want, you can apply the policies based on that tag value that you just decided. So go under the policy, you go under the group based access control here. You can create these scalable groups that the auditor is going to be assigned with the tag value of this one, like bring your own device with this one, cameras with this one. You can define the tag values from here. You can define these, you can create these scalable groups. You can define the tag value, you can define the descriptions and everything. And then later on, you can define the policies for the same as well. Rest, we'll talk about like these things in detail later on. Fine. So there are 26 in summary. There are total 26 scalable groups, 21 ICE profiles, and 6 stealth watch host groups. in this DNS Center appliance. Okay, we can create the policies related to the applications under the application policy applications. We can create the application sets and everything. So we can create the policies based on the application from here as well. Later on, when we explore this DNS Center appliance, we'll talk about that in detail. We can create different virtual networks, VNs related, like equivalent to VRFs that we have. We can create here something called VN, virtual networks, and we can uh, map the users in certain VMs and then allow the communication or block the communication respectively. Fine. Now, what other things are there? What other things are there apart from the different policies that you can apply? What other things are there? You can go to the provision section. From here, you can create a fabric of your network. You go under the fabric tab, and from here you can create the fabric. For example, they have created this San Jose fabric. This is the location in the San Jose location, San Francisco, San Jose location. So San Francisco fabric is there, San Jose fabric is there, and you can just click on anywhere. Like you can click on, like, for example, here. And this is the topology that you have there. This is the topology that you have there, as you can see. We have these different we have the internet connectivity, we have the managed router, we have something called like border devices, control plane devices, all those things we have. Fine. So this is the topology. As you can see, the access points, 5 unified APs, 4 unified APs are there. So you can see the topology. 4 wireless hosts are connected, some IP phones are connected. You can see it from here itself. Now if you want to do some sort of management from here, you can do it from this side as well. You can check the details, you can check the information about that device from this point. You can change the role of that particular device. You can create the port channels, the VLANs, what VLANs are configured and everything. You can check it from here, and you can also execute some commands if you want to execute. I'm not going to do that. I might not also have the access, but anyway, so let's not do that. I don't want to lose my access to this cloud-based DNS center anyway. So what I'm saying, that you can have this uh, topological view. You can create your own fabric, from this fabric tab that we have. Fine. Add, right here, like add fabric or add transit peers to the other network. Fine. Under the provision, we also have like inventory, plug and play. We can upgrade the things. We can upgrade the images or all those things from the centralized point as well. Fine. Okay. What else? What else we can do from this DNS Center appliance? Let's see. So again, I will go to the same tab. Here we also have the assurance thing. So remember what we talked about, that if suppose some user is facing some issue, so this like DNS Center Assurance Engine can give you the predictions. It can tell you that what issues are there, and it can give you predictions based on those issues. So you click on assurance. You can click on health to check the overall health of the network. You can check the health of the clients and everything from a centralized point. You have like this much amount of routers, like core devices, distribution devices, access layer devices. Total 113 devices are there, and almost everyone is healthy. These, different 10 issues are there. Top 10 issues are there. So some P1 issues, P3 issues, some different issues are there. Fine. And how many issues have been reported in past 3 hours? How many issues have been reported for past 7 days? All those things you can validate from here. You can go to the network tab to check the information, assurance related information of the network. You can check the information of the clients, how many clients are there, how many clients are connected, all those things you can check from this centralized point. Okay, like this. Okay, this is just the overview. Okay, we will create a fabric, we will onboard some devices, we will see in our lab as well all those things. You can go to the application tab to check the application related information here itself. So this is assurance dashboard. Under the assurance, we have this health. We can go to the issues tab. How many issues are open? How many issues are resolved? You can check from here. How many issues got ignored? You can check it from here. All those things you can check from this DNS Center dashboard, centralized dashboard as well. So for example, it says like interface connecting to a network device is down. Okay, so you click on this P1 issue. Let's click on this P1 issue, and let's see what information it gets. So you click on that issue, it will give you that interface gigabit 1/0 Wi-Fi is down on the network device on this Cisco Catalyst switch. You can export these information respectively. Okay, so you can check the different issues from this centralized dashboard as well. So just like we talked about that analytics engine, so AI based this network analytics engine is going to gather the information from different network devices, and it is going to visualize you in this type of chart. Okay, same, we can check about the Wi-Fi related information, PoE based devices, rogue access points, and all those things. We can check it from here. Different sensors that we have connected, we can check it on here. Okay, then we can go for the network insights. We can check the insights of the network from the centralized point again. We can check all the other things related to the network like heat map and everything, where the connectivity is there, where it is not. So range and everything, how many clients are connected to 5 gigahertz band on this AP, all those things we can check from this centralized point. As you can see, like it might take some time for you to get yourself familiar with all these options that we have. You might not need all these options, but anyway, it's good to know that we have all these options that we can do, all these things that we can do from here. Okay, fine. Different like issues that we have, layer to loop symptoms, all those things that can be reported. You can see it on this point under the issue settings as well. Health score settings, sensor settings, and all those. You can manage anything related to the assurance from here. If you want, I can show you one more thing. Like for example, I can go to the client. Okay, let's take the access of any client. So let's take the any client. Let's click on any client. Like for example, let's click on this client here. And from this client, I can do, if any issues there, I can check the issue information from here, client ID, the OS and everything, MAC address, IP address, everything we can check from here. Okay, how the onboarding has happened, you can check it from here. So what happened that this user from from his iPad joins this particular SSID, got connected to the access point, and it is being managed from the WLC. So those things we can actually see here, that how all those things have happened. Okay, you see re-authentication and everything, all the events that have happened from that device, you can validate all those things from here. Oh, we can also run a path trace from here. So let's say new path trace, and where we want to go, we can ping all these destinations that we have here. Let me ping any destination, so let me ping here. Okay, and let's choose let's not choose any protocol. So let's start the trace from this machine to this particular IP, and let's see what happens. So you can click on start. If I have the access to that particular section of the view part, I will be able to see the trace properly from here as well. So what I'm trying to say is that we can also do the tracing and everything from this DNS Center appliance. Fine. It will give you the result of the trace sooner or later. And if any time the trace gets dropped, you will see that the trace is getting dropped, and you can try to troubleshoot the things based on your requirement. Okay. Fine. So what else we have? We can define the workflows from here, from the centralized DNS Center appliance as well. For example, workflows related to integration of different things such as umbrella. So we can create, we can check the workflow related to the site-to-site VPN, how we can deploy the site-to-site VPN. Let's say you do not know how to deploy the site-to-site VPN. You can just click on that workflow, You can click on here and you can define the VPN name, site names, and all those things. And you can try to, it will just guide you. It will guide you in a wizard going through which you can actually set up a site-to-site VPN, for example, in our case. Same thing. Same thing we can do for the other things as well. Different other for other things we also have this workflow. Okay, so we can check the things from this workflow section of the DNS Center plans as well. Fine. What else we have here? We also have things. We have different variety of, like, we have variety of tools to discover the network, the topology, template editor, license. So how many devices are there with the DNS Center license, and all that information we can check from this tool section of the DNS Center plans as well. As you can see, there are 58 devices with the license. So purchase like Cisco DNA license, like 58 devices in total. 18 devices are running DNA Advantage license, and 40 devices are running DNA Essential license. And out of these 58 licenses, we have like 45 licenses in use on switches. If you go on the router tab, you will see the information related to the router, WLC, for ICE, all those things we can see from here. All the licenses you can validate from this where those licenses are being used, you can validate it from here. So regarding everything related to the license, you can check from this tool section. You can also discover the new devices. You can discover the new devices based on CDP. You can discover the new devices based on the IP. All those things you can do from this centralized point. You don't even have to configure anything on the device. It can discover the newly added device in the network from this discovery tab itself. Other options are there as well. Under the platform, you have the overview, manage, deployment kit, developer kit, and runtime dashboard. All those things you can check from here itself. So overview of this, like different bundles that have been installed, runtime dashboard, configurations, all those things you can check from here. You can go under the activities tab. You can check the audit logs. You can check the tasks. You can check the work items and all those things from this activity tab in the DNS Center. Reports that you have generated, all those reports you can validate from the centralized point as well. You can go for the system related information on here, like you can go to the settings and you can configure different things such as PNP or smart account credentials, ICE integration, and all those things, umbrella integration, and all those things. In fact, let me show you one thing. In fact, we also have the option to integrate the vManage in the newer DNS Center plans as well. And here, if you see, they are already they have already added some DNS Center in this some vManage in this existing DNS Center appliance. So all those things related to the management, you can see, you can define the users and their role. You can create different, just like I have logged in with the demo user, you can create different users and their roles respective to their requirements. So all those things you can check. You can you can check the release notes and everything related to the design, policy, provisioning, assurance, workflow, platform, system. All those things you can do from this centralized point. So this is how your DNS Center appliance looks like in the GUI format, and this is how you can do all those things from the centralized point. We'll talk about that in detail, how to add the devices, how to create the network, everything later on. But this is the centralized dashboard to manage all the LAN devices from the centralized point.